Hi there, welcome to the week ahead on the 15th of November. Today I'm going to have a little look at silver. I know I've been going on about gold. I think silver is picking up and we might be in for a bit of outperformance even with silver. To kick off, let's have a look at the gold-silver ratio. This chart going back a couple of decades, and it's pretty clear looking at this that we've got a range that the gold-silver ratio sort of oscillates around, and the point of control of that, I've got the midpoint around 60 with the gold-silver ratio. And in the last few years, when gold really took off, silver lagged behind, but that has changed in the last year or so with silver doing a bit of catch-up. And really the main point from this for me is that where the gold-silver ratio is, it's still near the top of the range of where it's been for the last few decades, despite this sort of crazy spike that happened a few years ago. So I'd really be looking at this thinking a move back towards that point of control around 60 is a fair bet, I think. So we could see a bit more outperformance of silver over gold. I mean, they could both be rallying, gold rallying and silver rallying at a faster rate, and that would push this gold-silver ratio down. And just as a general look at how it's been moving since the spike, and you can see that we've got a bit of a trend developing to the downside, and we've had this last wave to the upside to resistance on that 20-month simple moving average, and you can see that gold-silver ratio tipping back over now. So that would make sense as well, sort of a continuation of that trend to the downside in the gold-silver ratio. So just a little quick look at that has me feeling that we may be in for a bit of an outperformance of silver. And if we have a look at the long-term chart for silver, I'm looking at this huge wave to the upside we saw during the noughties, and I'm really looking at this intense wave to the upside that we saw where it headed up to $50, and looking at the buy and sell zones of that, you can see coming in there we've got the buy zone, which is where silver did a lot of work, and yeah, haven't been back up towards that sell zone yet, but that's up around $40, maybe heading there. So we saw a lot of work done from 2014 to 2020 with silver in that buy zone, basically creating a little distribution in itself with a point of control sort of around $16. You can see there a range created, false breaks of either edge of the range, lots of revisiting the point of control. Another false break there, and boom, off it went. Where did it find resistance? At the point of control of that wave. So that's been the high of the move for silver for this past few years. Has pretty much been bang on that point of control of the whole wave, up around $29. And just looking at how this trend in the shorter term is developing from those lows, you can see that we've had a nice strong move to the upside. We've got the moving averages crossing there on the monthly, and the 10-month exponential above that 20-month simple. And once it starts to get going, you often get the spike, which has things moving away from the moving averages, and then you get consolidation with things slowing down, prices revisiting those long-term trends, and then shooting back to the upside. So the setup that I see here is that we've had a little range created over the last couple of years. So that's, I've traced out the range for you, where we've got the initial wave to the upside, that very impulsive move, and then we've got the reaction, and that reaction is what's set up the range. And since then, we've had a false break of the high of that range, and we had a little false break of the low of that range, and this is what we're seeing now, with things kicking back to the upside again. And when a stock or whatever market is trending to the upside, The opportunities are buying the false breaks of the bottom of ranges, because that's usually when it will kick off to the upside again. And this month, you can see there's the low of the move since it's been selling off on that monthly, and the monthly buy pivot will happen on a monthly close above the high of that range a couple of months ago. And where prices are right now is saying that we would get that monthly buy pivot, but we're only halfway through the month, aren't we? But I wouldn't be surprised to see this as quite a large up bar by the end of the month. But yeah, it's not confirmed yet on the monthly, but looking good, because I do like it when prices sort of revisit those long-term moving averages and then kick higher with a monthly buy pivot and closing back above that 10-month exponential within the longer-term trend. And often if a price is trending strongly, that's your opportunity to jump on. We can have a look back in the past at similar moments when trends are heading to the upside. Then we have periods of consolidation, back to the moving averages, spike, monthly buy pivot, and then the next wave to the upside. Here again, long-term trend shifts. We have the initial spike, then prices move back to retest the long-term moving averages, turn up into a monthly buy pivot, and that was the beginning of this massive wave to the upside. So it's a nice little setup we've got going here. I think we could see silver start to march higher after spending quite a few years in consolidation. And as I showed you before when we were looking at that range, the way it's set up is that point of control is really important. It's been resistance for a long time. So if prices can actually bust above there, then you're looking at a possible extension up into that sell zone. And so that would be up around, $40-45. So, we may be heading towards something like that. It's certainly a setup that is saying it's getting ready to shift back into trending up again after consolidation for quite a long time. So yeah, silver looking interesting. And looking at two little silver stocks that might be worth researching. We've got Investigator Resources here, IVR. Again, in a nice long-term trend, this being the monthly chart. We've had a nice wave to the upside, correction back to the moving averages, and this month might just be that monthly buy pivot. I think I have mentioned this one to you in the past, but that's one to consider and keep on your watch lists. Looks like it is starting to turn back up and trading quite well over the last few weeks. SVL is the other one, Silver Mines. They have been in a consolidation pattern, just as silver has been. You can see there, been doing lots of work, but we're just seeing signs. We've revisited the near the bottom of the range, and if I was going to be exact for you, I would just look at that pullback, and we'd be looking, the way these waves have developed to the upside, then the correction, which I'm making calculations off. Resistance up around that 618 level outside the range, and then again lots of work done, and we're seeing the buying pressure in the buy zone of that wave, and potentially monthly buy pivot heading back above the 10-month exponential. So it's looking like it wants to start trading higher here, I think, over time, and is probably a buy on weakness. All right, well, that's, I think, enough for today. Silver might be worth having a look at. All right, cheers. I'll come back with more next week.